I'd like to welcome you to BeMoreNews.com. The news before the news, where we uncover the truth.
And he's 12
We're
years
here with the
old,
one and only
and I pay him for his grade.
Gantt.
Every time he gets good grades, he'll call me and say, "Papa, you owe me $80 because I got 4 A's."
Mr. Gantt, how you doing?
Wonderful, Donnie Glover.
James Mosher baseball. You know something about it, huh?
A little bit.
And I think we left off with the story of the shoe shine.
Oh yeah.
You being a shoe shine boy.
Well, my first job that I ever got was 8 years old, shining shoes for my number running uncle, who was my mother's brother, making $15 a day running numbers in my shoe shine box from Middleton, Pennsylvania, up to the Met Theater, which is on North Avenue and Pennsylvania Avenue, stopping at every corner. And the number writers that would work for him would come to my stand, and the shoes were already shined. So I would just brush them off, and they would put the numbers in my shoe shine box, and I moved to the next corner. The next guy did the same thing, so I got all the way to the top. And then he would come around in the evening and collect the numbers. The numbers came out from the horse races in the evening from Pimlico, and the first 3 horses came in, those were the numbers.
This is in Baltimore history people will not get anywhere else.
And my mother was making $25 a week, working down Stewart's, working from 9 to 9 on Monday, and 9 to 9 on Thursday. And my uncle told me the only way I could keep my job, and I was making some more money, I was the richest little poor boy in the neighborhood, the only way I could keep my job, I had to pay my mother $5 a day rent, save $5, and the other $5 was mine to spend. So I had $30 a week in 1948, 49. So I was the sharpest kid, one of the sharpest kids in the school in the neighborhood. But by the time I got to graduate from high school, and I told my mother I might go to college, she went to the bank, and all the money that I gave her, she saved every dime.
Wow.
And gave it to me and told me, if you want to go to school, here's enough money to go to school that you don't have to work, you can just study.
Tell me something about James Mosher baseball. How did it get started?
Well, James Mosher baseball got started, first of all, it got started by the principal of James Mosher 144. It was a principal, a lady principal, I don't know her name offhand right now, but I get it. She decided that the kids in the neighborhood needed something to do to keep them busy. So she contacted the hustlers, the number writers. She got all the number writers together, told them what she wanted to do. And the number writers put their money together and put together Finance James Mosher. And that's where the James Mosher started, from the hustlers, so-called hustlers on the street.
So what happened today? What's going on today?
Well,
I see you got that James Mosher jacket. I gotta show that off. We gotta show that insignia off. 55 years, 20 to 22,000 lives, and you're still working with young people.
yes, sir.
They tell me you see any Sunday in church with some young people with you.
Yes, sir. And also, I had to give credit to Brother Howard Henson, my brother-in-law, Shine, which we call him Shine. His name is Thomas White. And also, I can't. And the information that I don't have, I talked to Brother Meacham.
Mr. Alan Meacham.
Mr. Alan Meacham, who's the originator.
Hey, you tell me something about Kurt Smoke too.
Kurt Smoke was on James Mosher. He was one of the first James Mosher kids to go to play for James Mosher. That's what Kurt Smoke played for James Mosher.
Our first black elected man.
He was at our 50th anniversary.
I was.
Kurt Smoke was there.
I was there.
Yeah,
I was the MC.
Yeah, that's right. You sure was, man.
Yeah.
You sure was. Kurt Smoke.
A great league. Yeah. So what's the shot of hope today, to parents today, to leaders today? What's the shot of hope for our young people?
Well, the shot of hope today is that people like myself, my brother-in-law, and those people that are over 50 and 60 that are still involved like me. I'm 73, and I'm still involved and helping the kids because we can see what the real problem is. And the real problem is these poor kids don't have any parents because their parents didn't have any parents to train them to be parents like we were trained.
It's a multi-generational curse.
So it's our responsibility. It takes a village really to raise a child. And we have a lot of talent in our community, especially people my age who sitting home could be out here with these kids telling them some history. Because one thing I learned before I could graduate from elementary school, I took Marcus Garvey's quote. We had to learn the preamble to the Constitution of the United States, and we also, Marcus Garvey, I never forget his quote. Marcus Garvey said, "A people who does not know its culture or its history is like a tree with no roots." And that stuck with me ever since I was in elementary school.
You know, you made me think back to my dad. When my dad would spit information at me, it made me feel like my generation was being robbed compared to his generation just in public school. He's like, didn't you know about this? Didn't you teach about that? And so when I look at my children today, I feel like they're being robbed.
They are.
When I think of the history that they're missing. I mean, you're sharing things with me that I'm learning still, and I know these young people are not getting it.
No. Well, guess what? Also, one of my great rewards, just to give you, just an instant, Donnie, just by talking to people, talking to children on the street, because I always believe that if we're afraid, most of my people my age, they're afraid of the children. I talked to a young man back in 1998, sitting on the steps of that church down in Warwick Avenue and Edmondson Avenue.
Perkins Square Baptist.
Square. I used to go up, I lived at 2514 Calvin Heights. We still have the
Oh, you
house.
lived in the fancy block.
Yeah. And we still have the house there. And I will go up to 7-Eleven, because I just moved back in town from Carroll County. And I would walk up to the 7-Eleven to get my Haagen-Dazs ice cream, because after I got off the drugs, I went on Haagen-Dazs.
Haagen-Dazs. I like Briars, but you can have the Haagen-Dazs. It wasn't rum raisin, was it?
No, it wasn't rum raisin.
I know
I used to
Haagen-Dazs.
walk up to the 7-Eleven. It'd be 10 o'clock at night, and the people, my daughters and the people would tell me, "Warren, you can't walk like that around. It's dangerous." I said, "Listen, anytime I'm going to be afraid of the children, it's all over for me." So I used to walk up there. So in the meantime, I met these young kids that were sitting on Perkins Square slinging drugs. It was 10 o'clock in the afternoon, but every night I used to stop by and talk to them. I would talk to them every night. Stop by, "How you doing, man?" And they would tell me. I said, "Well, what you doing?" "Oh, Mr. G." I said, "Well, listen, it's about time for y'all to close up." So the other kids say, "I told you Mr. G is down." I said, "Listen, I don't condone what you do, but if you got to do it, don't sell drugs on God's step. Close up at 10 o'clock because the police are sticking out like a sore thumb. How long are you going to be in business?" I said, "Well, where do you live, son?" He said, "I live across the street at the 2400 block of Edmondson Avenue." I said, "Well, who lives over there with you?" He says, "My 9-year-old brother and my 7-year-old daughter. My 7-year-old sister." I said, "Well, where's your mother?" "She died, she OD'd. He's 15 years old." "Where's your father?" "He's in the joint." I said, "Well, who pays rent over there?"
I pay.
This is why I'm out here doing what I'm doing. Taking care of my brother and sister. I said, "Well, who do you pay rent to?" "He's paying rent to an Asian who owned the property, who's getting money from the government. He's paying $17 a month, and he's getting $600 a month from the government because he's on Section 8, and they own the property. And he's going to Edmondson." When he was going to Edmondson, I said, "Well, do you know Kami Pompey?" He said, "Yeah, I know Mr. Pompey." I said, "Well, me and Pompey went to school together." So I called Pompey the next day and asked him about the kid. The Pompey said, "Yeah, I know the kid. The kid comes to school every day, Warren. I know he's out there doing a little thing, but he comes to school every day." They pass him because he comes to school every day. Now, he sleeps all day, but he comes to school. So then we got together, me and Kami, instead of reporting him to the city and the authorities, because I was pissed off that I'm learning that the Asians moving into our neighborhood, buying the property, taking advantage of the federal programs and renting the property. When we were growing up, everybody, we owned our own property.
And we looked out for each
we
other.
looked out for one another. And these kids, this 15-year-old boy is raising his
brother and sister.
Now, if I didn't stop to talk to him,
You wouldn't have known.
I would never know.
And that fear would have continued. That's in our society.
That's correct. But today, the kid, because I asked him, I said to him, listen, what you sell? Well, I got to do it. I said, man, that's jumping, man. You kill somebody with that. I said, I tell you what. I said, you want to be a drug dealer? I said, why don't you do this? Get your job at CVS or Walgreens. He said, what do you mean? I said, the biggest drug dealers in America is pharmacies. They make $1.50 a year, and they do it legally. And they sell drugs for the government. So the next day, the kid called me. He said, Mr. G, you broke that down real good. Well, this boy is in his 3rd year at Morgan in chemistry.
Wow.
From 1998.
Wow.
Just from my conversation. Then the other kids had a lookout on the corner. So they all, after they started talking to me, they all came over to me and they said, I said, well, what you do? You look out, man?
Law enforcement.
I said, yeah, I'm a lookout, man. I'm watching 5 Mr. G. I said, well, damn, man, you could be the FBI.
Law enforcement.
Why don't you get your job as a cop? I said, the biggest thieves in the country is the cops.
This is a real Baltimore conversation. Keep watching BMoreNews.com.